Great morning. Welcome, everybody, to our Rise call. If this is your first time, and if you are somewhat awake and would like to type in the chat, let us know if this is your very first time experiencing the Rise morning calls. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mitzi from Antigua, welcome. I'm so thrilled that you are here. It's been so beautiful to see names that I know and names that I don't know. Thank you for being here. We've got a whole bunch of first timers. Welcome. Welcome from Kitchener. Welcome, everybody. I want to let you know that the people on my team have co-host beside their name. So if there's anything that you need, anything that we can do to make this experience, to enhance this experience for you, please let us know. We are here to be of service. That is the way these calls started 4 years ago, and that's the intention of every single call, to be of service. I want you to know that you cannot get this call wrong. You cannot get this call wrong. Simply be open, be receptive, and you will receive exactly what you need to receive. Don't worry about trying to get it or understand everything right away. Really connect to this call more from your heart. If you fall asleep, perfect, you did it perfectly. If you're taking ferocious notes, perfect, you did it perfectly. If you're just kind of sitting, doing things, getting the kids' lunches together or working out or going for a walk, congratulations, you've done it perfectly. All right, so what you're going to hear is really what we do every single day. And I've got, oh, Marco, so good to see you here. Oh, beautiful. I've got some questions that came in, so we're going to work on those questions as well, but we're going to start with some study. And I wanted to start with the work around being the essential and the incidental. But let me just give a shout out to the watch party. Welcome, welcome, welcome if this is your first watch party and if you're listening to the recording. So one of the things that you'll hear me talk about often is are you being the essential? Are you being the incidental? For those of you that have heard me speak about this, how has just a yes or no, has understanding this concept of the essential been a game changer for you? Karen says yes. Crystal says yes. Edith says yes. Suzanne says yes. Gwen says yes. Yeah, critical. Mary says yes, yes, yes. For me, it has as well. And I actually didn't truly understand it the first time. I had to study this concept, gosh, for quite a while before I really got it. And I'm sure there's another level to getting it. So that's what I want to start with, because we've got many new people in our community. And I often share about, remember to be the essential, remember to be the essential. So here we go. And if you've heard this before, you're going to hear something different. And then we're going to go into some questions. So where did this language come from? Are you the essential? Are you the incidental? It came from Thomas Troward's work, and specifically in an essay he wrote, Touching Lightly. And he asks, what is our point of support? Is it in ourselves or outside us? Now, you may think, what kind of question is that? What is our point of support? Is it in ourselves or outside of us? But I want you to really think about this. I want you to think about what you think the answer is and how you behave. Are we self-poised, or does our balance depend on something external? So what does that mean? That means that, are we grounded? Are we self-poised? Or does our balance depend on something external? Is it the external conditions that determine if we're self-poised? Is it the external conditions that determine if we feel balanced or not? And according to the actual belief in which our answer to these questions is embodied, so will our lives be. What is he saying here? That your life, what you do on a daily basis, the thoughts that you think, the feelings that you have, the actions that you take will, if it's coming from your point of support being inside of you, it will be very different than if it is coming from your point of support being outside of you. Okay, come on. Don't fall asleep just yet, though it's okay if you do. In everything, there are two parts. Here we go. The essential and the incidental. And true knowledge always consists in distinguishing these two from each other. And error always consists in misplacing them. If you never come on another call, if you hop off this call at 6:11 right now, and you embodied this, you really took this to heart and decided that you were going to be the essential going forward, life changed, worth getting up for, worth setting the alarm, setting up your alarm for. When you distinguish these two, everything in your world molds to what it is that you desire. When you distinguish these two, you are going to be then be guided from within, not taking your cue from outside of you. When you do this, you are forging your own path. You remain the essential. So in all of our affairs, there are these two factors, ourselves and the matter to be dealt with. And since for us, the nature of anything is always determined by our thought of it, everything is meaningless. Are you hearing me? Everything is meaningless except for the meaning that we give it. For those of you that had said, this is your first time, is this landing with you? Is this resonating at all on some level? In all our affairs, there's two factors, ourselves and the matter to be dealt with. And since for us, the nature of anything is always determined by our thought of it, it's entirely a question of our belief which of these two factors shall be essential and which shall be the accessory. Because whichever you make the essential, the other automatically becomes the incidental. Whichever you make the incidental, the other automatically becomes the essential. Okay, we're gonna go deeper. And here's the thing. The way that I teach is I bring in practical lessons. You're going to hear lessons. I don't know what you're going to hear because I don't know yet. But when it comes, it could be it could be me explaining this process from an example that happened at Starbucks. So that's the beautiful thing, is that we are going to make this so practical for you that you're going to see how this applies to your day-to-day life. Okay, Eva, this is from Thomas Troward, and the essay is Touching Lightly. Actually, you know what we can do, Charmaine? Could we we've got this essay, Touching Lightly. Can we put it in the success circle so everybody on this call can have access to it? The Success Circle is a Facebook group which you can join, and we'll also drop the link for the Success Circle for you to join. And then we will put this article in there today. So you've got it, easy peasy. Okay. And for my clients too, my clients will also put it, Charmaine, let's put it in the client community for the clients. Okay, so whichever we regard as the essential, the other at once becomes the incidental. Like, are you hearing this at once? Liz Bovey says, everything is meaningless except for the meaning you give it has been huge for me. Thank you. Right, Liz? That gives us agency. That's our free will, that we get to decide what meaning to give to things. Okay, so for any sort of action to take place, there must be some conditions under which the activity passes out into visible results. But the same sort of activity may occur under a variety of conditions and may thus produce very different visible results. So in every matter, we shall always find an essential or energizing factor and an incidental factor which derives its quality from the nature of energy. Okay, let me break this down for you. When we're talking about the essential and the essential is the self. What is your point of support? Is it you or is it outside of you? So these morning calls put you in a peak state for you to connect to the essential. And then everything that is going to come forward from this call. Now, some of you are in Europe. We've got a global community. You're all over the world. And so you're listening to it at a different time, but it doesn't matter because whenever you're listening to this, it's here and now. And everything that's going to come from now is going to come from this level of consciousness, the level of consciousness where your point of support comes from within you. You are the essential. Most people do not live this way, that their point of support is the essential, that they are the essential. They live from the outside in. They live from the incidental. So the incidental are external circumstances. The incidental is the weather, the economy, how other people are behaving. I don't know, give me some other examples if you've got some in your mind of what the incidental is. People buying from you. Gosh, the temperature of the water. Did somebody cut you off in traffic? Yes, Tina, other people's reactions. Perfect. The economy. Yes. Family. Yes. Parents. Yes. Health. Yes. Losing a job. Katrina, yes, that's the incidental. Things we don't have control over. Yes, Laura. So this is what the incidental is. Now, what happens is when we're thinking about our goal, when we're thinking about what we love, we allow the incidental to control if it is possible for us to have. We allow external circumstances to even throw us off. Yes, someone mentioned traffic here. Christy says traffic, the service at a restaurant, children. So we could be going along, we're thinking of our goal. We're like, I've got this, I'm conquering the world. And then something happens in traffic and we're thrown off course, which means that in that moment, the traffic became the essential and we became the incidental. Come on. Now, is this landing for you? Are you getting this in a deeper way now? Is this making sense? Carmen says, all life events, it seems. Absolutely, Carmen, all life events. So, for us to be truly in our power, for us to be in our divinity so that you can claim your destiny, is to remain the essential, regardless of the circumstances. Hi, Teresa. So good to see you here. Michelle says, every morning, just getting kids ready and it throws off my mindset. Yes, Michelle, you and so many others. But I promise you, there is a way where over time, what you're going to find is that that is actually going to happen less often. And that is not going to be your normal. In fact, when it happens that you're thrown off in the morning, you're going to be surprised by this and you'll have a little smile on your face because you're going to say, I remember when this used to be my normal, and this is not my normal anymore. In the chat, clients, how many of you can relate to that? How many of you can relate to Michelle, where you've been thrown off first thing in the morning with the kids and that was your normal, and now it isn't? Now your kids listen to these calls, they're part of these calls, they hear you, but it's different because of your mindset. And Leslie says, Hina, I feel called out. Keep it coming. So good. Yes. And Jorge says, let me see, the chat moves sometimes. First time hearing that concept sounds like cause and effect. Jorge, it is cause and effect, and different. Yes, and different. So yes, and different. Yes, and different in the sense that the law of cause and effect is everything. Everything is cause and then effect. And the cause is our consciousness. The cause is our thinking. So yes, you're absolutely right. Now here, what we want to do is drill it down even further to make sure that we understand that we want our thinking from the place of the goal, from the place of what we desire to be the cause, and not our thinking to be the cause, which is determined by external conditions. Did you hear that? And then that leads to the effect. So remember when he says here that for any sort of action to take place, it's going to go through some conditions. Well, the conditions that we want it to go through is the conditions that we have placed there that is coming from our true desires, from what we really want, that we have consciously created, not the conditions of John Smith, Jackie Smith, not the conditions of others or what we think we should be doing, or, comparing ourselves to others, or what somebody's Instagram tells us what we should be doing, or what the economy or what we feel at our age and stage we should be doing, or the weather says this, or, our culture says this, because it can absolutely, energy can flow through that. And then the effect will be a match to that, because mirror, mirror, we think in secret, it comes to pass. Everything is but our looking glass. So what we want to make sure is that what the energy is flowing to and through is our consciousness, which is connected to our desire, to what we truly want, and that in any situation, only always, we remain the essential. Okay, we have some questions that I want to get to, but I want to give you an example of this. Just again, so that we can bring it, so I can bring it home to you. Carmen, let me just answer this. Carmen says, so it's the condition of our thinking affects the present moment in which we are constantly in. Yes. So Carmen, the present, okay, this is actually so good. When we look at our results right now, that is a reflection of the past, not a reflection of the present. So you are right, Carmen. In the present moment, our thinking in the present moment, when we are thinking from what do we want, what do we desire, affects the past. Sorry, affects, well, it actually can affect the past because we can change the past in that way by changing our memory around it, but it affects the future. So you think of it like you're planting a seed, and the thoughts you're planting right now are going to come to fruition. This is how, in these 3 days, you can change your timeline. You can change you can change this year in these next 3 days. Edith says, I have a hard time some days because one or two things can derail my whole day. Beautiful. What a great example of what we're studying. You are the incidental, and that thing outside of you is the essential. So we just want to take our rightful place. And so what we want to do, and this is going to take time, because being the incidental, being in that position to life circumstances, is a habit, is a way of being that's been built up over a lifetime. However old you are, that's how long you've been doing this. So give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace, because it can change. You've just become aware of it, and our results come from our level of awareness. So you know what? I am going to go to the questions now, then we'll go back to the study. Okay, so let me first go to Bailey's question. So Bailey says, as a continuation to what we discussed yesterday on the Tuesday call, with all the fire and excitement I feel about my C-level goal. So what Bailey is speaking about is like her moonshot goal. This is a goal that she does not know how to do. I have also run into the terror barrier. So that's the fear that comes immediately, usually on the heels of a goal, when you've set a goal that you don't know how to do. On the heels of that is usually fear. So I've run into the terror barrier in big ways recently, and really just at random moments when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm just wondering if you could speak to this again. I think I'm going to hear something different this time. Gosh, when we have that desire that is larger than us, that desire that we don't know how to do, but we feel called to do. It's a desire that I don't know, Bailey, did you choose it or did it choose you? Chicken or egg? I don't know. Does it even really matter? And so sometimes when you say that you're feeling fear in big ways, of course, it makes sense. You've got a big goal, you've got a big dream. Does not mean that anything is wrong. So when it happens, when it comes, which it's showing up when you're feeling overwhelmed. And the reason it's showing up when you're feeling overwhelmed is that it's giving you an out. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, and if we allow the overwhelm to take over, then the overwhelm has become what? Someone drop it in the chat. What has the overwhelm become? The essential. And we've become the incidental. So Bailey, when the overwhelm comes, just know that part of your paradigm, part of the belief structure is like, yeah, this is too much. Let's get out of this. You know what, maybe we don't want to feel overwhelmed all the time when we're doing this. Is this a reflection of how I'm going to feel as I'm creating this, always in overwhelm? So what we do, so the desire is to not feel overwhelmed, but we cannot feel overwhelmed and remain the essential, that we take that rightful spot back. So when you feel overwhelmed, take a nap, go for a walk, but don't associate feeling overwhelmed with information that you're not to do your goal or that's the way it's going to be. So now it's like, yeah, so that is, and so you and get to neutral about it. Even get to neutral about this idea of your goal. Be, you know, it's a goal. Now, I know it's beyond what you've ever done before, and it can feel like a big goal, but we want to use the law of relativity for us. There are goals, there are things that are bigger than that. The amount of revenue you want to generate, some generate that in a day. And I say that just for the law of relativity. Does this help? It really comes down to, Bailey, remembering that this could not be placed in your heart if it wasn't available for you to do. It is remembering who you are. And it's also remembering, screw it, you're going for it. And you're going to remain the essential. And you know the saying, you reach for the moon, perhaps you land in the stars, not so bad. And as Mario says here, it is done. Creation is finished. And so the other thing is when we've got a goal like this, and we're in overwhelm, the one thing that I ask myself is, what would it look like to attain this, to be this without overwhelm? So what do I have to become aware of? I'm just not aware of how to be in this without overwhelm. So let me expand my awareness to be this without overwhelm. That's right, Glenna. Screw it. Let's go for it. Glenna, you made some decisions last week, and that's it. It's done. And I want you to know that when you create a goal that's larger than you, fear is usually on the heels of it because there are so many parts of you that cannot survive at the level which you will be at from the place of the goal. And it's going to be holding on and throwing everything at you for reasons that you should abandon what is in your heart in pursuit of the safer route. And it's not going to make sense to everybody else. And so, especially in the beginning, you can think of it as if you had a newborn baby. You would not go to a mall right after giving birth and hand your baby around for others to touch it immediately after birth. Why? Well, a number of reasons, but stay with me. Why? Because you don't want other people's germs to get on it. Don't let other people's germs get on your goal in the beginning. In the beginning, you've really got to nurture it and share it with those that also understand this material and understand and see you as the essential. Annie says, can you please repeat that, Hina? Annie, I don't know what I said. This is what happens, Annie. Okay, for those of you, especially if this is your first call, oh, Crystal said, repeat, please. I have no idea what I said. So sometimes I just like it flows out and I actually can't remember it. But the beautiful thing is that the call is recorded. So you can go back to it. Sometimes I do remember if I see the chat before, then I will. And then sometimes people, and then I may remember, and then sometimes clients will remind me. They're like, you were talking about this. But I promise you, it's there. So please, and here's the thing. Don't listen to this call just once, especially if you are new. I would listen to this maybe even before bed or just while you're doing stuff. If you're listening to something anyways, or if you have a show on, just try listening to this again and connect to how does it make you feel. Chanel says, I feel like whenever I make a big decision, I get so much pushback from my life. Yay, that's amazing. Of course you do. So that is natural and normal, and that is what should happen. The reason is when you make a big decision, anything that's not a match to it, it's going to show up. And much of what's not a match to it is in your life now. The question is, are you going to make that the essential? Or are you going to make that the incidental? So what you want to do, as we talked about earlier in this call, is firmly be planted and grounded that you are the essential. So you can get pushback. Imagine yourself as a strong tree, that there is wind, there is things, there is the elements, there is weather, but you are strong and you are grounded. But how is that going to be? It's going to be by self-understanding. It's going to be in this work. It's going to be knowing yourself. It's going to be moving on things when you get the inspired idea, which reminds me, if anybody gets an idea or a thought or something that you want to do during this call, do it. Because you are so open to your higher mind in this call that it's an inspired thought and you want to do it. Of course you did, Michelle. Michelle says, I made a huge decision and then had plumbing issues, water running uncontrollable. It was such a great test. Exactly. Exactly. We've got to stop looking at these as obstacles, but as progress, that actually you're moving in the right direction. This is the thing. This is why most people are not living a life that they love, is because at the first bump in the road, they bail. They turn on themselves, don't do it. And that's why, listen, I'm just going to give a shout out to this community. That's why a community like this is like none other, because as Crystal said in a live that we did yesterday, you can't turn on yourself in this community. We hold your goals. We're like, by the way, how's that coming? We know what is happening for certain people in this year, and we're holding it for you. So the other thing is that anything that's not a match is going to show up. It's like also the law of opposites. You decide to invest so much in something. Maybe you decide to buy a new home and you're getting your house ready for sale, and now you've got to invest so much in your house because there are plumbing issues. Yeah. Glenna says, we won't let you bail out and try to be the incidental. Yeah. Okay. Let me go further, and then I'm going to go into, I don't know why I even say it. I'm even stopping myself. Then I'm going to do this. And then maybe I'm trying to remind myself. I don't know, because we just go where we need to go in this call. Bailey says there has been a lot of divine inspiration in the last couple of months converging right now. I think I still need to get more into the goal, define it with clarity, and then I'll get to 100% resolve. It's like I can feel the vision is at 90%, but actively coming into focus. Bailey, that's exactly it. Get emotionally involved with this goal. This goal has to be bigger than your insecurities, bigger than your doubts, bigger than your fears. That's what we must build. We build the belief, and then we crowd out the doubt. We're not going to focus on the doubt or the fear. We build the belief. It's like the crow on the eagle's back. The crow drops off when an eagle hits a certain altitude because it cannot survive there. There are things that are going to drop off, that are going to shed because it cannot survive at this version of you. That is why in this work, it is never, 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 can I say never one more time, just about the goal. We've always got to raise the energetics, raise your self-image to be a match to it. I just had a smile at Ashley. Ashley, did you ever, you've got to, Shannon on this call, what you put in the inner circle chat, please put that picture, if you haven't, in the client community and tag Shannon and let her know when that, well, we'll know when, but what happened yesterday. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to go I'm just going to go right to the next question. So I'm going to do this question anonymously because I'm not sure if they want it to be anonymous, but I will err on that, on the side of conscious. Okay. I purchased a $2.7 million home for my daughters and I last year. It was a stretch, but I knew the mindset work and believed that I could increase my income through my business. We've been here in my new home for 1 year, and my income has gone down ever since. Having discovered lots of feelings of unworthiness and not belonging and worked on that, I would have expected a shift by now. Any suggestions are appreciated. Okay, and this person that has asked this question is not a client yet. So I say this because you're all welcome to ask questions to me as well and send in questions, and we can even you can ask your question, just put question in caps and put it in the success circle, and then I can answer it on these calls like I'm doing for this person here. And you can also use the anonymous feature in the success circle if you want your question to be anonymous. Okay. So I purchased a $2.7 million home for my daughters last year. It was a stretch, but I knew the mindset work and believed that I could increase my income through my business. Okay, we've been here now a year and my income has gone down. Having discovered lots of feelings of unworthiness and not belonging and worked on that, I would have expected a shift by now. Okay, I'm going to tell you what this is. So in this question, we see I purchased a $2.7 million home for my daughters and I last year. It was a stretch. I knew the mindset work and I believed. So we have there's different levels, and we can have a level, and this happens many times, of being able to create what we desire and create it. And first of all, look how freaking powerful you are. You purchased your dream home for you and your daughter. So you've got to just take a moment and acknowledge that. You did not know at one time how you were going to do that, I imagine. And then things came together to support you. Why? Because you believed, you got emotionally involved in it, and you believed in it. It was a match and you were congruent, and you had the capacity to receive. You had the capacity, you created capacity for yourself. You enlarged your capacity, your awareness to receive a house that is worth 2.7 million at the time. That is not story, that is fact. That is fact. I'm not adding story to anything, that is fact. Many people have this. So you know how lottery winners will win the lottery and then within a year lose it. I mean, I know, Stuart, you shared a stat on this in the UK, which I would say is a global stat. The reason is because they don't have the consciousness to have it. So you have the consciousness, this questioner has the consciousness to receive it, which is friggin' amazing. But what we see is not the consciousness to have it. And we can see that because of having discovered as they've dug deeper, which is amazing. Again, I commend you on this. And I want to say to the person that asked this question, we want to look at this very neutral. We want to be neutral about this. There's no judgment, no shame, no guilt, no remorse, no regret, no nothing. This is just neutral. It just is what it is. And as you looked at this, you realized there were feelings of unworthiness and not belonging. This makes sense. And again, if we look at lottery winners, the reason that they are not able to have what they have won, what has come to them, is because of feeling similar to this unworthiness and not belonging. And then it goes on to say in the question, and I've worked on it, I would have expected a shift by now. Okay. You probably have worked on it. Look, you may have worked on it in your level of awareness of working on it. But if it has not shifted, so it could be in the process of shifting, but if it is not shifted, then that tells me that there's still more work to do. And it makes me think of Neville's work in that it does not feel natural to you to have this. And so, oh, there's something I wanted to, okay, let me just go to this and then I'm going to come back to this. Hang on. Okay, so first of all, is this making sense? So it's the consciousness back of it. That is the next piece that we've got to work with. So, and also so that you remain the essential. And so again, if we're focused on the income, what position does the income have if the income is controlling us? Is the income the essential or the incidental if the income is controlling us? That's right, Joseph. I just have to have a moment for Joseph. Joseph and I met when I was brought to Ecuador to work with a team, a digital marketing company. God, remember that ranch that we worked out of, Joseph? And he and I worked super, super closely together. And as it happens, when you're around me, you're just going to go after your greatest dreams and desires. And one was to be in the US, studying there, working there, and he's living it. He's doing his art. Absolutely incredible. Oh, so when I see this, when I get messages like from Glenna after our lunch, and Glenna said, Hina, how do I thank you? You do have the most glorious Glenna life that you can have. Have it all. That's honestly, when I see, gosh, when talking to Crystal, seeing her living her dream, this is the greatest thank you that I can receive. Because my goal is for you to have your goal. So, okay, so back to the question. So the reason that you haven't seen it yet, and you would have expected that your income would change because you have done this work, and you're saying that you have done the work, you have faithfully done it. It is because that it does not feel natural to you to have it. So what I would say is where there's work to be done here is that it is natural for you to be so supported, for you to be an overflow, for it not to be a stretch to have a home like this, for you to be able to manage your financial responsibilities and more, for it to be easy for you. So that's another thing that we do in my community, is that we create a life through ease, joy, and fun. And so it's not natural for you. So, and sometimes when we're going after that goal, like a $2.7 million home that we don't know how to do, and it's a stretch, there's so much work that's being done around the mindset to be able to create that. But at the same time, we've got to do that foundational work as well. And that's where we're a little bit wobbly. So that is the reason why you are struggling. And you can send me a note or just put in if that makes sense to you. It's for that reason. It does not feel natural yet. Or will you allow yourself to be so supported that you can have it with ease, that you can create a life of abundance? Because the one thing that there is no lack is created. Okay, so now the question is, how do you feel more natural in this circumstance? First thing is, actually, this leads us beautiful into the next piece. And I trust that you're going to be here for the next 3 days, for the next few days. So we're going to work through this. Okay, the first thing is, and this is what I like to call home play, because I don't like to say homework, because it's all play. It's not family, work, it's just all play. Okay, so your home play is to connect with what it is that you really, really desire. And this is going to be our starting point, even for this question of how do I feel more natural? I need to know, what is it that you want? And then I can help you. So I want to know what everybody wants. So in the success circle, you are going to share what a goal is, but here's the kicker, that you do not know how to do. And I want you to write it in this specific way. I am, so that's in the present tense, because it's all here and now. So happy and grateful now that, and then you're going to write your goal. Okay, so that's the way we're going to do it, in the present and positive and something measurable. Thank you, Charmaine. And this is going to be in the success circle. In the comment section, I want you to put your goal in the comments. Play full out for these next 3 days. Clients, put it in the success circle as well, your goal. This will help me to help you over the next 3 days. These calls are not about me, even though I'm the one that's talking a lot here. These calls are all about you. And my goal is always for you to have a life that you love and your goals. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to put it in there. I am so happy and grateful now. And it's a goal that you don't know how to do. So in this case, with this person, it could be something like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I easily generate X amount in revenue. And it could be like through a specific thing that this person does, through this, and multiple sources. Any questions about the goal and writing your goal? And let me know. Actually, I want your commitment now, because this is what we call event action. I actually want to take some time now and write it now. And then the next thing you have to do, and you can actually even put it in the group now, because my team can, admit you into the group now. So let's do this. Could my team just does nothing fancy. My team, they like to take things to the next level. So I know someone's working on a graphic, but don't worry about that. Just in that block, I'm so happy and grateful now that, oh, Charmaine's already said done. Okay. Shanice says that I have purchased my first company. Beautiful. So Shanice, now go put that in the Facebook group. Put it here, but I want to see it here too. What is your goal? I am so happy. Sarah says, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am the go-to consciousness coach, helping my hundreds of high-paying clients achieve their desires and more. I love it, Sarah. Beautiful. This is the power. The power is in speaking it and claiming it. And there's power in doing it in an environment that supports you, that sees it for you. Mitzi says, Mitzi, I'm so happy and grateful now that my film is on Netflix. I love it, Mitzi. This helps me so much because I'm going to work with this. I'm going to work on this with you for the next few days. Elisa says, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm mortgage and all invoices and blessings received are paid in full. Beautiful. So I love that. And what you may want to do is think about what would be an amount that you would love to have that meets those responsibilities and more. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am making $83,333 a month selling real estate. That's somebody who's going to be making $1 million or who is making $1 million. Beautiful. So I'm so happy and grateful now that I easily generate $83,333 a month. And you could even say, doing real estate transactions that make a difference in people's lives. So you can even, or investing in real estate, what you can also do is put some feelings around it that when you think about it, it really connects to an emotion. Erica, the spiritual healer. I'm so happy and grateful now that I easily generate $350,000 in annual income from my business. And what I would love to add to that, Erica, is from my business and other sources, because I don't like to limit the universe because the supply is infinite. So I'm like, look, you can come through my business. I mean, I am happy for that. But if you want to come through other means, I am open and available. You can come from above, from below, from left, from right. I am open. I am a vessel to receive because, gosh, yes, just so many reasons. Sorry, I get worked up. Andrea says, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm bringing in $500,000 per month in revenue, and we are the go-to Korean skincare brand in North America, a household name. I love that. Manal asked, if you have multiple goals, do you work on them separately? Great question. So one of the things is when you've got a goal, many times reaching this one goal, like thinking of that goal, that really big goal that you don't know how to do, many other goals will be checked off the list through that one goal. So what you want to do is first start with that one overarching goal, and then you're going to have, then we kind of let that go in a way, and then we focus on kind of 30-day goals or 90-day goals, but start with one that will end up encompassing others. And I want you to think about, how do you feel by me even just reading these goals? What changes for you in that? I love it. Oh my gosh, all of these goals are absolutely incredible. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. First of all, scale of 1 to 10. How was this call for you? Even if you're a client, because every call is so different. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Yay! Yay! Love it. Okay. Who is coming back tomorrow? Amazing. So right now, please, don't you already feel like like I just want to say again, any thought that came to you of somebody to reach out to do anything, please do it. Please do it. Also, what I want you to do is right now, put this in the Facebook group if you have not done it yet. And the reason I'm asking you to do it now is to create the habit of not putting things off, but doing things immediately. That is a habit of peak performers. That is a habit of the top 1%. They say they're going to do something, they just do it. So there's no reason to put this off. You're at your computer, you're at your phone, click the thing, the link, and just get into the Facebook group and add it there. And then I will see you here tomorrow. For those on the watch party, thank you. For those listening to the recording, thank you. Please go to the Facebook group. If you're listening to the recording or the watch party, play full out. This is your life. I love you all. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye for now.